Alright kids, today on Louisiana Beer Reviews we are looking at an oldie but goodie Squatter's Double IPA. I've had this a long time ago before craft beer was the thing, and I thought this was really good. Back in my experimenting days when I would experiment with just any fancy label bottle I would see.
So it's been around that long?
I think it's been around in our market probably 10 years. I've seen it, and it's good. So this is going to be a review for me. This is double IPA, old school West Coast style, like we all love and adore. Something we can see through, something you know what you're drinking, no questions about what gunk flunk is floating around, and this is coming in at 9%.
From Utah.
From the Ute.
I have done
Got a little
this.
smoke coming off of it.
Yeah,
It's a golden amber.
and I have
to a
reviewed this
bright
many
orange.
times. Yes, many times.
And Jay, you get the most.
And that was not
That's
mine.
okay.
This one. Okay, so label out. There's the brewmaster with a big, huge hop. That's what that is. That's the brewmaster of the company with a huge hop. And it says,
He's forking it.
yeah, insanely smooth dry hop ale has everything. 9%, 72 IBUs, and yes, that's our master brewer Jason Stock pitching on the label. A hop lover's dream. So if you're into cloudy, sweet, fruity, it's not going to be a dream. But
Well, those are starter IPAs for the immature palate. These are really good IPAs for the mature palate.
some people are not going to take that comment too well.
I really don't care.
Yeah, but I got to answer because of my channel. All right. Anyway,
Well, most of those people still eating Fruit Loops.
yeah.
The smell is sweet, sweeter than I would expect.
Off-white head. It's very dark. Look at the appearance. It's like deep copper, right?
It's got a best buy of 7/28/18, so it's still in date.
And you got a good deal on it.
Yeah.
$7.99 a 6-pack, which
Good
these
deal.
days, you know. I love that malty caramel.
Malty caramel, sweet. Hops are fading. Hops are fading.
You think that's why they had it $7.99?
I don't know why they have it for $7.99. I didn't ask them why they were selling for $7.99.
Well, you know, a lot of times
I just bought it.
distributors will call the grocery store and say, "Look, we got a deal. It's getting a little old."
This tastes like it's on the low end of freshness, where they start turning into barleys. They get sweeter, the hops fade, and you're left with some slight bitterness. Just not really.
It's still nearly
across.
2 months within the Best Buy, though. It can't be too old.
Well, I totally understand that date means, but I'm telling you what my taste buds are telling me. That this is an old IPA.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Nothing wrong with older IPAs. Like I said, they start turning into barley wines. And that's what this one tastes like. It's
Medium body, medium dry finish.
medium body, sweet, medium dry finish. The hop punch isn't there for a double. I'm not really getting 72 IBUs off it, are you?
No, but they tend to build. Like if you keep drinking on it, it'll start to rise up.
Well, I think if you drink enough beer, it'll taste whatever the label says. It's
No, I mean you could say, you know, the alcohol's influencing you to drink a lot, but I think I've said this many times in videos, early morning videos, 8:15. I say the bitterness will build. I think it's still dynamite. I mean, I just think it's a great beer.
it is a well put together beer, but the label's misleading the taste. This isn't tasting like a double IPA. This is tasting like a real virgin barley wine. And that's what happens to the IPAs when they get a little age on them. The hops fade, the sweetness comes out, and they start tasting a little caramelly, especially one that's got a malt base like this one does.
I think one of the problems
Good.
here. I think one of the problems here is that I'm not as sensitive to that as you are. You're like really sensitive to that fade, and maybe I don't pick up on it. Like maybe my perception is like, if you want to say immature, or doesn't.
Well, I'll give you for instance. One time I went to Broussard, to the little brewery in Broussard, and I picked up Envy brewed a few hours before we got there. It's fantastic. It was so delicious. It had such a hop frontness to it that I haven't tasted in a bottle of Envy ever, except for that one time. That I drank damn near all of them, and I was halfway through home, and I said, oh man, I should have picked up more. Same batch came out 2 weeks later. That little hop front was gone. Now, I don't know if it was designed to be like that, or if that was part of the chemistry that goes into building that type of beer. But what I tasted that day, I never tasted again in another bottle.
So it was at that brewery.
At that brewery, at that particular time, several hours old.
And then you notice the can Envy from Florida would be a lot different.
I haven't bought that because I'm not going to patronize someone else's brewery. Misleading with the label of it being another beer. Being the same beer, because it's a different beer. I've seen them poured side by side. One's dark, one's light, so I'm not going to buy it.
I'd be curious about it. Anyway, we didn't have this super cold. I think it might have a little more approachableness if it was colder. You know, maybe it should be a little colder because it's so hot outside. We've been suffering under that.
Yeah.
How would you score that though?
This? Solid A.
I mean, it's an A even when it's not cold enough.
Right. It's a well put together beer. I was a little disappointed with the sweetness and the hop falling on it, but you know.
Yeah, I wasn't really picking that up, but
I think all breweries, if they don't have this rubber stamped recipe, are kind of playing around with the recipes here and there a little bit, and it's good to experience that. Like it's going to be Summer of Ghost again this year, or as it's being advertised, Summer of Ghost Dew.
So we're saying okay. So we're saying most excellent. Even though it's not, you're saying
give it
an A, most excellent, but not it's not at its premier level that you've had it in the past.
Right.
So if it was like a week out of the bottling, it would really be.
I don't know.
Because you never had it.
I've never had it that age.
If you were in Salt Lake City and
tasting it fresh, probably in a keg, it's probably dynamite. So.
But I wouldn't call giving something an A a bad.
No, you know, getting an A means that you made a really good beer. It's balanced. I'm not getting funkiness on it. It's not bitter. It's not tasting like it's not a beer. It's tasting like it is a beer. It's got sweetness like beers would have. It's got bitterness like beers would have. It's just unfortunately my expectation of a double IPA is different than when I taste it.
Yeah. So, but for somebody who's never had Squatter's double IPA, you would definitely recommend.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's clear. It's West Coast style. It's something you like. Something I like.
Now I want to ask you one more thing before we cut it off. How do you think this stacks up against like the Sierra Nevada Torpedo Extra IPA? That's 7 point something.
This is better. It's more complex.
Ooh. Ooh. Well, I asked, so hey. All right. I don't really see Torpedo too much anymore.
It's probably not in season.
I see it.
Maybe season.
I see it at Rouse's, you know, and
you have to check their website.
I see it at Rouse's, you know. All right. Anyway, so Les Bon Temps Relais, really great beer. Here comes the AC. Y'all come on down to Southeast Louisiana.